support our daily maintenance of our spiritual condition. I will be serving as chair this evening. Throughout the week, you will see either Brad or myself chairing. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. We are glad that you are all here, especially the newcomers. In keeping with our singleness of purpose and our third tradition, which states that the only requirement for AA membership is the desire to stop drinking, we ask all who participate to confine their discussion to their problems with alcohol. If you have worked the 12 steps and have at least 6 months of sobriety and are willing and able to sponsor, would you please drop it in the chat? And if you are in search of a sponsor, drop that in the chat. Also, we're trying to work on hooking up sponsors and sponsees. The AA preamble. Oh, let's go with the Serenity Prayer. Can we please have a moment of silence for the alcoholic who is still suffering both inside and outside these rooms, followed by the Serenity Prayer for those who wish to join us. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. The AA Preamble, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And Ron is going to read the promises for us tonight. No, you're shaking your head no. Is he not here?
I haven't seen Ron come in. He's not here.
He was supposed to read for me.
That's
okay.
Right.
Does he?
Promises.
You got him?
I got him right here.
Okay. Thanks, Brad.
Yep. Hi, I'm Brad. I'm an alcoholic. Page 83, the promises. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We're going to know new freedom and new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They're being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.
Thank you, Brad. Okay, guys, please keep your microphones on mute. The message cannot be carried if the message cannot be heard. Brad and I can both mute you on our ends. So if you come off of mute and you get remuted, it's nothing personal. In order to ensure that everyone has a chance to share, it's really gonna depend on how long Pauly speaks for, but let's just say 3 minutes. We'll go with 3. And at 1 minute, we will flash a screen letting you know you have 1 minute left. And when time is up, we'll flash another screen letting you know that the time is up. In order to ensure that everyone has a chance to share. Oh, I just said that. Hang on. Okay, we're going to stop the meeting at 5 minutes till for a quick roundup and close out with the Lord's Prayer. Since Pauly will be speaking, we will use the hand raise feature. So when he has finished his talk, use the hand raise feature and we will go down the list and call on you. And when the meeting is over, this room will stay going. And if you didn't get a chance to talk or share, you will have time afterwards to do that. So with that said, our topic tonight is on sponsor and sponsee relationships and all of the good things in between. And I am so grateful that Pauly is going to share some of his wisdom with us on that subject. So with that said, welcome, my friend Pauly. Take it away, brother.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the honor to talk to you guys tonight. I really appreciate it. For those that don't know me, my name is Pauly. I am a grateful recovering alcoholic and addict. My sobriety date, and I say this not to impress you, but to impress upon you that it's possible and to give a little credibility to myself tonight, is February 17th, 1989. But I just actually celebrated on the 23rd was my very first introduction to Alcoholics Anonymous and recovery in February or June 23rd of 1980. I was 17 years old, and so I was institutionalized. So I also have like what I like to say is 9 years of how it doesn't work. Okay, of not listening to sponsors, of trying to run the program myself under self-knowledge and a whole bunch of different things. And I finally got back to this program, busted, beaten, and broken with nowhere else to go, and surrendered, and finally started answering and actually listening to them and doing what they said. So what I'm going to share tonight is about some of my experience, strength, and hope with sponsorship, and the things that I've learned, the things that I've seen, the mistakes I've made, and to share with you guys that journey. And it's not, please don't, by no means am I the definitive professional about sponsorship. This is just my experience, strength, and hope. I know there's pamphlets out there. I know there's literature out there that is based by and produced by Alcoholics Anonymous, all good stuff. There's always more to learn. There's always more to experience. And I'll be really excited after I'm done to listen to some of the stories that you guys could bring. And maybe I can learn some more about being a better sponsor. But for me, one of the keys is about sponsorship. I think in the very first thing was you don't have to be a sponsor. I think many people, and I wanted to bring this up, a lot of people, when they come into recovery, they get a sponsor, and the sponsor tells them to get a sponsor. And if that's correct, if that works for you, great. Or people feel compelled that they have to sponsor people, or they have to and sponsor multiple people. We all have different talents. We all have different abilities, and we all have different responsibilities in recovery, right? So for me, early in my recovery, sponsorship wasn't something that was there because I had a family. I had a responsibility. I had young kids. I had my own business. There was a lot of time that had to be put into those responsibilities. And it wouldn't have been fair trying to sponsor somebody and not be able to give them the time that they deserve. So I encourage people, when they start thinking about sponsorship, if their program's far enough along, is to really think about, is that the best way that you can help in your recovery or help the recovery? Because we know we're all here because Bill W. I mean, the most basic thing about Alcoholics Anonymous and why we're all here today is because Bill W. figured out the best way for him to stay sober was to help another alcoholic, right? And that's grown to where, now we have this worldwide fellowship, and it's awesome. But I've also found the best way to destroy your recovery is to focus on another alcoholic and not work your own program. And that's something I did early in my recovery, not necessarily just in sponsorship, but I got so busy trying to help everybody else. And I've seen other people make that same mistake, that they want to help so many people, they want to do it, and you become a two-stepper, right? And I think people in Texas know what two-stepping is, right? It's very easy to go there and think, I'm an alcoholic, I get it, and now I'm going to go right to step 12 and be of service, right? Right in between, and just skip everything in the middle. I've seen, and I've been guilty of doing it myself, because it's so compelling. It feels so rewarding to do that at first. You're helping people, you're going to meetings, you're doing all this right stuff, but you're not, or I wasn't, looking at myself. I wasn't looking at my own character defects. I wasn't checking myself. What I was doing is I was using Alcoholics Anonymous. I was using service as a way to run from my responsibilities, run from myself. And in turn, my sobriety and my relationships faltered. So I want something to think about is wherever you're at in your recovery, and we're all here at different levels. I don't know you. So just think about, even if you've been in recovery a long time and you've been sponsoring people, be careful. Always check yourself. I do. How many people am I sponsoring? Am I really able to do it? So I think one of the first keys is I have a sponsor and my sponsor has a sponsor. Now, I know some people really like the lineages and grand sponsors and all that. I saw Daff with her picture of her grand sponsor. That's great. That's fantastic. I honor people like that. I don't necessarily have that relationship, but I do know my sponsor has a sponsor. And, I go to him. And I went to him from the very beginning before I even started. I went to one of my earlier sponsors and said, I'm going to sponsor somebody. Give me some pointers how to do it, because the best way to get those pointers are the person that maybe you've been working with for a while and that you've established this relationship and they can help you. So my first suggestion, if you don't have a sponsor, get one before you sponsor somebody, because it's about checking yourself. The great thing that I found about sponsorship, really, I love helping people. I love working with people, but I actually get a lot more out of it than I think my sponsees do. Because just like tonight, Daphne, when we talked earlier this week and she asked me to do this talk with you guys, immediately, whenever I'm asked to do a talk, I check myself. I got to go back and I got to take an inventory. Is this something that I really have the right to talk about? Is this something that I'm working on? Is this something that I can add something positive to? And it's the same thing when somebody comes to sponsor me or ask me to sponsor them. It's like, I got to check myself. Where am I at? Where is my recovery at? Where's my life at? And do I have the time to give them the time that they deserve? And then I like to also find out, why do they want me to sponsor them? Many times people will come to me and they'll say, well, this is why. And in their question, in their asking me to sponsor them, they'll spell it all out. Then they'll just go, bah, 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 and they'll regurgitate because they're nervous, and they'll tell me why they want and what they need of a sponsor. And that's great. Other times I've had people walk up, hey, you want to sponsor me? Well, I don't know. Should I? What do you want? Because if I don't know what you want and what you're looking for, how can I help you? It's because it's not about me. Sponsorship, I look at is like taking off a hat and putting it on, right? When I work with somebody, I'm putting on this hat. I'm no longer their friend. You can be a friend. I have many sponsees that are my friend also. But when I take on the sponsorship role, I'm putting on this hat. I got to try to be objective. There's a purpose to the relationship that we're having right now. There's a purpose to the discussions we're having right now. And one of my best sponsors for myself growing up eventually became one of my best friends. And we really got to a point where I had to go find another sponsor because we just became such good friends and we did so many things together. And that's fantastic. But be honest with the relationship at that point in time. Just constantly, and I think that's the other reason to have a sponsor yourself is to continue to check yourself in, because the boundaries can get very blurred. And the next thing about I feel for being a good sponsor is setting up boundaries, right? Because I've seen many people, and like I said, including myself, make mistakes. We want to help somebody. I want to help them so bad. I want them to get what I got. I just want them to see the light. I want their life to get together. I want them to get so bad that I wanted them to be sober more than they wanted to be sober, right? So I'm doing things for them and not with them. I'm doing the work. I'm calling them. I'm chasing them down. Why aren't you at the meeting? What's going on? This and that. That's not, in my opinion, I had to find out the hard way. I cannot get anybody sober. I'm not responsible for getting anybody sober. My job is to plant the seed, give the information, and support, right? Those are the three things that I can do. Whether they take that support, whether they take that information, whether they use it and apply it in their life, that's ultimately up to them. I have no control over it. This is a great program. It's a we program that each of us have to work individually. So we get to that point where I have to detach and make sure that they're doing things for themselves. I have to give them opportunities. And I always like, for me, I give them a little test. Hey, you do this. Let's see how much you want to do. And different people have different tests. Different sponsors have different tests. You know, I like to see if people are willing to memorize how it works. Are you really worried? You know, that's one of the things that I did for me, because that's what worked for me. That how it works was so important in my recovery. And I feel it's so important that that 2 pages of how it works really, for me, condenses the whole program. I can see the whole program within those 2 pages, you know, the principles of the program. And so I test my guys, and sometimes they can do it, sometimes do it better than others. But most importantly, it doesn't really matter how well they're doing or not doing. The point is, are they trying? Are they willing to take that step? Are they willing to take that information? Because it gets to a point, if they're not willing to do that, then I can't help you. If you're not willing to help yourself, the truth is, I can't help you if you're not willing to do the footwork. Once again, it goes back to, I can't carry you. You have to do the footwork. But if you take 1 step, I'll take 2. You know, so those are things that I've learned, and those boundaries, those healthy boundaries about, first of all, you know, I'm not your banker. I'm not your marriage counselor. I'm not your lawyer. I'm not your financial advisor. All right. Those things go back to those healthy boundaries. That's not why I'm here. I will help you find a lawyer. I will help you find a doctor. I will help you find a marriage counselor if you need one. But it's not my job is to help you to get through it. A sponsor's job, in my opinion, is to help you get through the steps, to help you learn and get the tools you need to live a life without the use of alcohol. That's it. Singleness of purpose. Keep it simple, but yet keep it, you know, real. Yes, all those, alcohol does affect all those different areas of our life. And we could talk about how the alcohol affects them. But if you want an answer, if you want, I'm not going to set up your bank account. I don't want your bank card. I made that mistake before. Now, when I got the bank card, I didn't know the PIN number. All right. I refused that, but it still creates this trust issue. If all of a sudden you start getting set up with, hey, there's what's going on. Now they got to come to you. And it's just, in my opinion, it's not worth it. It never turns out well for me. So I've learned that I don't do that. I won't lend you money, all those kind of things. So those are some of the principles. The other thing is, who can I work with, and who am I able to work with, and who am I willing to work with? Just because a person enters Alcoholics Anonymous is looking for help doesn't mean I have to be the one to help them. Now, I know whenever the hand of AA is reached out, I am responsible. That is true. But maybe my responsibility is a little bit simpler than I want to make it. Maybe my responsibility is to help the young lady that comes into a meeting find a female sponsor, not me. Maybe give her some numbers if there's not a female sponsor, any females at the meeting. Maybe if the person has some mental wellness challenges, I really need to take an honest look at that. Do they have physical health challenges? I have to take a look at that. Am I capable of helping them with those issues? Or maybe there's somebody better in my group or in my recovery community that I could pass them along. And that's a lot of times when I'll do a temporary sponsorship. Hey, yeah, here's my number. You can call them. You can call me. But we're going to find you somebody that's more appropriate that I think will help you a little bit more. And that idea about calling, especially now with texting and calling and this and that, you got to set up boundaries with that. First thing and I think one of the keys for me is usually I set up pretty clear boundaries with, especially if the person's in my recovery community and they live close to me, because it's a lot more, access is a lot more easy, and you interact a lot more. This doing sponsorship across the world is a new thing, and I think there's going to be a lot of trials and errors and a lot of working things through, but it's going to be very interesting, and I'm very excited about that opportunity. But when you got somebody that's close to you, for me, you got to think about, like I said, early in my recovery and throughout my recovery, I had kids, so I know people that bring their sponsees to their houses and they have dinners and do all that. Hey, that's great. That's fantastic. If that works for you, I'm all in. For me, I keep my sponsees separate at the time because I had kids. I had a wife who's not in recovery. And I'll be honest, I love my own home sanctuary, right? There's nothing wrong with having your own sanctuary. I suggest that you have a place that you go and you can call your own. I see many people that have gotten very burnt out throughout the years because their recovery wraps so much into their personal life that before they know it, and they've sponsored so many people that before they know it, they feel like they have no privacy anymore. So it goes to one of the keys, like I said, is those healthy boundaries. You don't call me if you're drunk. You don't call me in the middle of the night or text me in the middle of the night unless your health is in immediate danger. That's it. And if you start calling me and calling wolf, crying wolf, we're not going to be sponsor very long. So there's those boundaries. I will not, if you call me, you can call it what it wants. When I have sponsees call me and they're drunk, I say, call me when you're sober, and I hang up. You may not agree with that, but the boundary's been set. I told them, call me before you drink, not after. I can't help you with once you're drunk. You're not going to listen. You're not going to be able to coherently understand. We're going to go around and round in circles, and I'm going to waste my whole life and take time away from my family and the people and the responsibilities I have when you've been so irresponsible that you couldn't do it. Now, call me when you're sober. I'll go have coffee with you. We'll start all over. I'll give you, I'm not that cold-hearted or nothing, but there has to be a realistic boundary. There had to be for me. You know why? Because I've sat up there and argued with drunk people on the phone. I've done it. And I've also done many a 12-step calls. We don't do them as often anymore in recovery as we used to, because there's usually a lot more, for whatever reasons, there's more resources. But in olden days, we used to, hey, so-and-so called me, he's drunk. All right, boom, phone goes off. So-and-so called me, he's drunk. Okay, boom, boom. My sponsee's drunk. Okay, be right there. 3, 4, 5 guys, not 1, 3, 4, 5, come in there. Let's get them, start the coffee, grab them, bring them to a safe place if he needs to be brought to a safe place, or if where he's at is a safe place, get the coffee going, start taking turns talking. That, I'll do. But, there's, like I said, each and every one of us, I think, have to find out where our boundaries are and what we're comfortable with. And there's no necessarily right or wrong. Just remember that there's consequences and there's always a balance. Everything has a pro and a con. You gotta always be thinking of both things. And that's where, once again, to have your own sponsor is so important for me, because if I get into that gray area that I don't understand what's going on, I have no problem calling my sponsor and saying, hey, I got this challenge. This is what's going on. Don't even, I don't have to give names. I don't have to break anonymity. I have a sponsee. He's doing this, and I don't know how to handle it. And then he shares his experience, strength, and hope with me. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Or it doesn't make sense. It doesn't going to work, But, I bring it to another human being. I'm not God. I don't have to be God. I don't have to. These are not, this is not about a relationship where, I have any control over this person. This is a fellow human being. The way I look at it, it's a fellow human being. Like you say, keep it simple. My job is to support them, give them the resources, and provide the opportunities for them to work the program. And that's what I do. And when I do that and I keep it simple like that, I think it's good for them. They seem to have a different, they seem to feel comfortable with me. They open up. I've seen different sponsors do different things, but the key is to build that relationship, but have that relationship with boundaries. And then it becomes very rewarding. And I think, one of the things I'll start going towards is the rewards of sponsoring people. I was sponsoring a gentleman. I think we were both, well, I was about 7 or 8 years sober. And I was sponsoring a guy. And at the time, he wanted to quit smoking because he was in the service and he was coming up for re-enlistment and he needed to pass his physical. And he said, Paul, will you help me quit smoking? I'm like, well, I'm a 2-pack a day smoker. I don't really think I'd be a good, I'll sponsor with the AA like we're doing, but I don't think I can help you with quitting smoking. Maybe you should find another sponsor to help you quit smoking. He's like, no. All I need is you to hold me accountable. I just need you to call me every day, make sure I didn't pick up a cigarette today. Hey, I can do that. That's pretty simple. I can't give you any advice on how to quit, but I can make sure that you're living up to your word, right? 3 days into that situation, I felt like such a hypocrite that I reached out to another gentleman and all three of us quit smoking and none of us have smoked for 30 or 20 something years, So that was a reward of a sponsorship. I got that from him because I couldn't quit on my own. I always used to say I smoked for 1 year and tried to quit for 16, but it was by helping another person and the three of us using the program, the principles of the program. We just took nicotine and put it in step 1. And that's how we did it together. So those are the, some of the other benefits of sponsorship, and then just that fellowship, getting people together. For me, as you know, I've been so blessed to be sober for such a long time, but I didn't do it by myself. There was a lot of people that carried me. In long-term recovery, there's been ups and downs. Some problems I created, some problems came out of left field, just like this COVID. I had health issues that came out of left field. And I look at also as sponsorship as investing. See, I'm and like doing this tonight, I'm investing in my future because long-term recovery has taught me that sooner or later, I'm going to need you guys. Something's going to happen. And it has, whether it was a divorce, whether it was physical ailments. And these people that I have helped were there then to help me and to carry me when I no longer could carry myself until I was healthy enough physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it was at the time, to carry myself. So I didn't have to pick up physically. So it's really whether you're investing people in sponsorship, whether it's chairing meetings, whether it's doing service work at different places, whatever it looks like, it's an investment. It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in recovery, because I don't ever want to wake up one day and go on a Zoom and nobody's there, because I'd be in a world of hurt. So I think I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I missed. I think that's about it for me. Unless somebody has any questions, or I would be really awesome to hear some of your sponsee relationship experiences. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Pauly. Oh my God. I swear, I just love you. Everything that comes out of your mouth, like, you just amaze me.